Joining us, voice of the Regina Pats, Dante De Caria. Dante, the Pats start. Let's tell the people what they need to know about Pats camp coming up.
Well, I guess we can start off with the schedule, which is the first ever, the inaugural Brad Hornung Cup, which will be taking place at the Brad Center, beginning with on-ice sessions Thursday morning and concluding on, Saturday afternoon before the annual Blue and White game, which has Fan Fest beginning before a 2 o'clock puck drop on Sunday at the Brad Center. So lots of on-ice sessions. You've got the teams named after some different alumni, Team Steele, Team Eberle. You've got Team Jolly, named after Greg Jolly, the first Regina Pats player to be selected first overall. And then Team Gillies, representing, of course, Hockey Hall of Famer and I think 4 or 5 times Stanley Cup champion Clark Gillies. So that's what you need to know about training camp. We've got some exciting players. In fact, I just saw a players-only skate at the Brant Center just a couple of minutes ago. We wrapped up, Barney, and I saw Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh playing alongside Parker Trottier, a 6th-round pick of the Montreal Canadiens, who has arrived in Regina. And the 2 of the 3 European players are here. Cermak and Tukio look very good on the back end as well, along with the likes of Reese Hamilton, Colton Bridgman, and even a guy like Matt Peranich, who had a pretty good season last year and is back with the Pats before going the NCAA route potentially next year. And, of course, Zach Lansard is back, a 3rd-round pick of the Carolina Hurricanes. He just announced his NCAA commitment to Minnesota Duluth for his age 20 season. So the Pats essentially have 2 more seasons left of Zach Lansard, potentially 2 years left of Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh. So this is an important year under Dave Bell. Dave has a ton of experience, so this is an opportunity for fans to get to see some of the next wave of young players, but also what this team could do this year.
I want to go first off. I want to go Brad Hornung Cup. I think it's great. I think it's fantastic. Anyone that knows the story, anyone that kind of got to know Brad a bit, exceptional human being and what he had to face in that unfortunate circumstance, obviously. Was there even a debate? How did the name come about that it should be the Brad? Because the Pats, a storied franchise, oldest one in the country, there's a lot of names you could throw out there. How did we come to the Brad Hornung Cup?
I'm actually happy you asked that, Barney. Actually, a couple of days ago, his mom, Terry, actually stopped by, uninvited, obviously. She just stopped by out of nowhere to the Regina Pats office. And, a couple of people were in meetings, and I happened to be walking by the front desk, and she came over and shook my hand and say, I just want to thank you guys, the Regina Pats organization, for naming this after my son. But it was Dale Durkach that decided it. I don't know what other names they were thinking of, but when I actually asked Dale, when he had told me that this is what we were going to do, and myself and Tristan Fry went and got a trophy made for this, Dale said that he was kind of the first name that popped into his head. Dale obviously had known him, being an alumni of the organization. Dale was 2 years removed. He said he was playing in Europe when the incident happened, and got to know Brad through the scouting ranks when he scouted with the Chicago Blackhawks, and from being around the Brant Center. Of course, Dale was involved with the Pats as formerly the head coach, and scouted with the organization, and now the general manager of the Regina Pats. So it was Dale's call. Dan was just a couple years removed from the 1987 season when Brad unfortunately suffered that spinal injury and left him paralyzed. Obviously he went on to have an amazing post-playing career, despite having so many major setbacks without being able to walk and being in a wheelchair for the rest of his life. I never had the opportunity to meet Brad. He passed away actually the year I got hired with the organization, but I've heard a lot of stories about him.
Yeah, he was a great guy and great scout. Still had a good mind and a good eye for hockey. What's new coach like? Every coach is different for the most part. You want every coach to be different. A lot of times, what's David Bell like?
Well, I think number one, what we heard at the press conference and what I've learned about Beller over the last couple of months is that he's a fantastic communicator, and he's really spent a ton of time building relationships with these players over the course of the summer. For example, having dinner with Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh and getting to know them, heading down to the Hlinka Gretzky Cup to meet his family, to meet Liam Pugh's family, to spend some time with both of those young players. Having one-on-ones with guys like Reese Hamilton and some of the other local players in Regina, such as a guy like Taylor Tabashnik, a Dace Durkach, meeting players as they come through town over the course of the summer. I think it says a lot about Dave's character and the fact that he's moving his kids and his wife too, Regina. They actually just bought a house in Harbor Landing here in the city. So he's somebody who's committed to the community. He's committed to the organization. He's going to be here for a while. He brings a ton of coaching experience from the junior ranks to the pro ranks. In order to coach in the American Hockey League, especially as a head coach, you have to be pretty good. So I'll let his track record kind of do the talking, Barney. But one thing that I've noticed is that he's very smart. He's a people person. He's a player's coach, and he's a really good communicator. I think all the players on the roster will know where they stand. He'll be very communicative when it comes to their roles and what they have to do to earn more ice time. And I'm really looking forward to working with him a little bit more starting tomorrow.
See, I was thinking he maybe go Cathedral area. You could walk to work, maybe take a bike, but I guess Harbor Landing, that's okay. And you're and the nickname's Beller. He's not going Bell Z or Bellski, or it's Beller.
It's Beller, and actually it was Al Miller who told me that it was Beller originally before I met David Bell. So.
Okay. We look at camp, and one thing I wanted to get your take on. I'm going to be asking a lot of the play-by-play guys this over the next little bit because I think it's the way it's going to go. It's really cool. Lots of opportunity for kids these days. Is where I'm starting to see. Even with the Pats, we got some junior A players from last year, different leagues. These junior A players, bringing in a kid now that's maybe an 18, 19-year-old that's had success in junior A, going to be beneficial for dub teams.
Absolutely. I mean, you've seen a ton of players pick up junior A caliber players that have turned into WHL players over the last couple of years because you just never know where you are in your development. Some players become late bloomers. Maybe you have a late birthday and you really kind of turn into a star player as a 19-year-old. I look at Ellis Miette. I mean, he posted over 30 points with the Pats last season. I think he had 11 goals, and he was a really good junior A player in the Alberta Junior League and came over to the Pats and served an important role. And now he's back as a 20-year-old player, and I'm sure they're expecting him. You know, there is 5 20-year-olds on the training camp roster, so they can only keep 3. You can keep 4 up until October 10th. So they're going to have to trim down at some point. So Ellis Miette is a guy that did play junior A, has an NCAA Division I commitment to Lindenwood University, and does have some experience and has the tools and the ability to be a good top 9 center and somebody that can definitely, fill a spot on this roster. So he's a prime example of, somebody that went the junior A route. The NCAA ruling changed, and then he signed with the Regina Pats last year. So there are other junior A invited players on the training camp roster. Another one that stands out is Jet Deschamps. He's 18 years old. He played for the Verdun Oil Capitals last year. He AP'd a couple times with the Pats this season, like on an emergency basis when the team was running through some injuries towards the end of the season in the month of March. He's another guy that's going to be fighting for a spot at camp and somebody that, has played against older players, obviously having played junior A last year.
Okay, and you mentioned the Euros have arrived. They're in town. Tell people, have you seen them skate yet? What can people expect maybe to watch out for this weekend if they're going to watch camp?
Absolutely. Thanks for asking, Barney. Yeah, I just watched them skate for a couple minutes at the player-only skate, which was at the Brandt Center. And, I was talking to some of the defensemen about him. I asked Matt Peranich about OC Tukio. I asked Reese Hamilton about OC Tukio, what's it like to play with him, and they said he really has good vision. He sees the ice well, he skates very well, and he can make plays. Mentioned that he's a pretty good two-way defenseman, kind of comparable to an Efrem McNutt, just being able to play on both sides of the ice. And then I asked Colton Bridgman about playing with Cermak, the big Slovakian defenseman, and he pointed out to me that he's a really good stay-at-home defenseman, plays kind of a similar role to maybe a Dayton Deschamps or even a Bridgman, kind of, how he played his game last year. So he's more of a stay-at-home type defenseman, not really known as kind of a puck-moving guy, but it's their first time playing on the North American ice surface. So it's going to be a little bit of adjustment for them. But I mean, both of those players, Parsey's not with the team because he's playing for the Slovakian national team or is it the Czech national team? I get them mixed up, but mindless of that, he'll be there, I think I want to say for the preseason. But the two other kids, it's going to be an adjustment period, but they weren't ranked by Central Scouting going into last year's NHL draft, and they're not represented by Newport Sports, same agency as Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh. And they wouldn't have been recommended to Dale Durkash by Maddox Schultz and Liam Pugh's agent if they weren't good. So I think we just have to bank on that, right, Barney?
Yeah, Newport. They kind of know what they're doing over there. All right. So just again, starts Friday, and then the games on Sunday.
Yeah, so the blue and white game is on Sunday. On ice sessions actually start on Thursday. Tomorrow's just kind of everybody gets their registration, fitness testing, that type of thing. People get to meet each other for the first time. And then, on ice sessions start at Thursday.
Right on. All right. It's camping time in the WHL. Dante, thanks a lot. Have a good weekend, and looking forward to catching up again.
Awesome stuff. See you around, Barney. Thanks for having me.